This is the BBC for the Eastern Counties. Now the regional news with Stewart White.
Good evening. A legal loophole has allowed a Suffolk man to avoid paying his poll tax bill for £242. Don Pollard from Hepworth proved to magistrates in Bury St Edmunds that under the 1968 Civil Evidence Act, the local council hadn't followed proper legal procedure. He challenged the use of computer printouts as evidence. St Edmundsbury Council says the decision could have implications for other local authorities. A homeless man from Hertfordshire is back on the streets today after his caravan was destroyed by fire at Buntingford near Royston.
The burnt remains are all that is left of the home of unemployed Kenny Evans. He bought the caravan a few weeks ago after living in his car on the A10. He put it at the junction of the A507 and the A10, which used to be a traveller's site. Late last night he returned to the caravan and found it ablaze. Police are treating the fire as suspicious.
Water supplies to thousands of homes at Witham in Essex are expected to be restored tonight after a mains burst. Supplies ran out early this morning when a 21-inch pipe burst next to the River Blackwater. Engineers had to shore up the river banks before repair work could be carried out. Water tankers were brought into Witham to help with supplies. The Mid-Essex Water Company says it hopes to finish repairs tonight. A new £10 million cancer treatment unit is to be built at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage. The unit is part of an £11.5 million package, which also includes an inpatient assessment unit for the mentally ill and a new health clinic in Baldock. That's the news this evening. Just a reminder, there'll be more regional news on your BBC local radio stations between now and midnight, and we'll be back tomorrow lunchtime. From all of us here, we'll see you next year, and have a very happy New Year. Good night.
Good evening. Well, 1991 does not look set to go out with a whimper, but with a most definite bang as far as the weather's concerned. A weather warning in effect for Scotland and for Northern Ireland due to gales and severe gales overnight, gusting between 60 and 80 miles per hour, that wind, so that could obviously cause some structural damage. Now, the culprit is this intense low-pressure area, which is going to be scuttling across close to the north of Scotland tonight, bringing the strongest winds up in the north. There are the wind arrows. Gales and severe gales battering in across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There could be some very strong winds over the northern parts of England, particularly up in the hills too, causing some fairly difficult driving conditions at times. Indeed, there's another weather warning out for the combination, not only of the wind, but the heavy rain likely, which will cause really some fairly horrendous driving conditions in Scotland and Northern Ireland mainly, because that's where the rain will be moving in tonight, some of it quite heavy and persistent, crossing through Scotland and down through Northern Ireland. By the early hours of tomorrow morning, we'll see most of the rain in the far north of England and southern Scotland, with clearer skies following to the north there. Temperatures not too low by the end of the night, but there could just be a touch of ground frost in some parts of the southeast in the next few hours, but that should lift as the winds pick up. As far as New Year's Day's weather's concerned, that band of cloud and rain affecting Northern Ireland, Northern England and southern parts of Scotland. For most of England and Wales, fairly dry. There could even be some bright weather around in the east, but a lot of cloud around generally, and that's probably going to be thick enough in these western areas to give a little bit of rain and drizzle. And then later on tomorrow, after the bright start in northern Scotland, we'll see this cloud gathering apace and beginning to push back up through Northern Ireland and Scotland, so turning out wet and windy once again there. Generally quite mild, particularly in the south, especially if any brightness comes through, but obviously with the wind still being quite strong, it's going to feel rather cooler than 9 or 11 degrees might at first look. Well, looking at the weather maps for the next couple of days, this is the one for tomorrow. And then as we move through to Thursday, that weather front begins to buckle northwards. But then the day after that, we'll see it begin to move back south again. It really can't make its mind up. But it will mean that most of the wet weather will be up in Scotland over Thursday and through Friday as well. Still quite windy weather, quite mild, particularly in the south. But then later on Friday, that rain moving southwards and brighter, colder weather beginning to push in across most parts of Scotland. And it'll still be windy over many parts of the country. That's it, I'll say Happy New Year.